and going from one guy we all like to another guy we all like in Robert Whittaker, drawing Reiner de Ritter. I have to say, I suppose I'm pretty interested in this match. However, my hopes for Robert Whittaker ascending to the top once more are pretty much non-existent. I don't see him pulling a Robbie Lawler and having a second or third wind resurgence in his career, especially at middleweight. Now, I like Whittaker just fine, as I stated earlier, but even though he has showed some new wrinkles in his game late in his career, I don't think RDR is going to be presented with anything he hasn't seen. I mean, even when boiling it down, there's just too much tape on Whittaker. You know, Whittaker's ranking in the middleweight division is pretty much a rut he's going to have a lot of trouble climbing out of. And when I'm looking at numbers 1 through 12, it might be that RDR is his best chance to stay in that rut. Really, if Whittaker wins, it's just to keep his place. But the opponents he has lost to are the ones that are all ranked above him, and they all finished him in a dominating fashion. De Ritter's finish on Bo Nickel really set him up for something nice if he can continue in those ways. I honestly do believe that RDR has more ways to win this fight. I think Robert Whittaker is going to have to be high volume with his vintage ways, managing the distance darting in and out, but at the same time, those darts in and out are probably going to need to be 3, 4, even 5 strike combinations. Whittaker's been able to build himself a little fan base within the gaming community and doing his podcast with whomever the other person is. RDR has become a little bit of a character on his own through the press conferences and whatnot. Honestly, I don't think this is too big of a leap up in competition for Reiner de Ritter. At the same time, I'm not sure if this fight is necessarily going to be exciting, and what I'm expecting is a decision for whoever wins. If Whittaker finishes de Ritter, he's still very much relevant, but I'm not so sure he's going to be able to do that. This might be RDR's fight to lose. As much as I love Whittaker, and as much as I don't like saying that, I don't know if he's going to be able to pull one over on RDR this late in the game.
¡Ya, güey! ¡Pinche pendejo, güey! ¡Ya! ¡Pinche vato, güey! ¡Güey! ¡Pinche vato! ¡Ya, güey! ¡Ya, güey! ¡Por favor, idiota!
Ah, te bañaste.
¡Pinche pendejo, idiota!
Amanda Ribas and Tabatha Ricci are gonna throw down. This fight sticks out for me because I feel like Tabatha is a little bit overdue to be getting her little push for contendership. Not to say that it's the UFC's fault. Tabatha isn't a very fluid fighter. She fights a little too mechanical. Excellent athlete. Her training routine is always impressive to me. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think maybe it's that she likes to fight safe. When Tabatha's in the octagon, it always feels like she can do more. She's not known for her finishes, and even 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, she had a fight with Polyana Viana and couldn't finish her. Split decision to Tisha Pennington, which I think Tisha won that fight. Tabatha is currently number 10 in the women's strawweight division. Amanda Ribas somehow is holding her spot at number 7. I have said for a very long time she should not be there, and she should have not been taking up 2 spots in 2 divisions. Amanda Ribas spoke with Shaq prior to her last fight, which was with Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern submitted her with an armbar, if you need your memory jog. Prior to that, she lost to Rose Namajunas. She said she was going to be in whatever division had her closest to the title. Right now, she's only in 1 division, and I don't think she's anywhere near title contendership. Not only in this division, any division. Now, I like Amanda Ribas, but I feel like Tabatha is going to hold Ribas on the ground for 15 minutes and not utilize any ground and pound or finish her and get a decision victory. I hope it doesn't go that way, but the Luana Pinheiro wheel kick finish from Ribas was once every blue moon. And Tabatha hasn't had a finish since, 2022, 2023, with about 6 fights in the meantime. Something like that. You know, what I would like to see out of this fight is either Ribas have some kind of crazy resurgence or Tabatha step on the pedal here. Because of how the ranking system works, we have numbers 2, 3, and 4 locked up for people that have already lost to the champion. At this point, Mackenzie Dern should be at number 3, and I don't even like saying that, as anyone would know. Jillian Robertson should be up there. And pretty soon, we have Jessica Andrade fighting Lupi Godinez, as long as that stays together as well. And I feel like Jessica Andrade is just holding a place place in 2 divisions to try to place another fighter beneath her, skipping a bunch of spots. Now, Lupi has already lost to some higher ranked competition, but it's a more refreshing rotation for the champion than what we currently have. There's no way Jan, Tatiana, or Amanda are gonna get a rematch with Wiley anytime soon. And not too long ago, Mackenzie Dern was calling out Verna. That actually makes sense because she's already fought everybody else except Tatiana. And I don't think they want to book Tatiana with Mackenzie. It's a big risk if they do, especially with Tatiana coming off the performance she had with Wiley. My point is, for a while, this division had a lot of intrigue. There was a lot of personalities, but Wiley kind of just stomped them all out. And there was some delay with her fighting more frequently, which I wish would have happened. At this point, I definitely would have took the Wiley Grasso super fight at UFC 300 that they both were inclined to take, but never came to fruition. Tabatha is one of those marketable stars out of South America that the UFC wouldn't mind putting on the posters, right up there with Mackenzie Dern. But for these 2 ladies, it seems to be taking a little bit too long, and I think this is Tabatha's make or break time, because if she ends up losing to Amanda Ribas, her dreams of title contention are all over. As for Amanda Ribas, if she loses, she's out of the top 15, at least in my opinion. She's been lingering too long. If she somehow pulls off the win, I really can't see how she'd be getting anyone ranked above her again. So in my opinion, the stakes are much higher for Tabatha Ricci. Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev will be throwing down once again in October in Abu Dhabi. Now, I'm not foaming at the mouth for this fight necessarily, but honestly, what are you gonna do? Ankalaev has been talking trash ever since he won the title, and Alex seems to be a little bit salty about it. Did Alex learn enough while traveling the world and training different places and being one of the most interesting people on the planet? We're certainly gonna find out. I would have to think yes. However, Alex is getting up there in age, and I do wonder if he's going to be any more improved at age 38. This is another fight like the Whittaker RDR fight that I'm not sure if is going to be exciting. Now, Alex has given us plenty of exciting fights, but I do wonder if he's going to be simply neutralized yet again. He was very worried about that takedown in the first fight. How much has changed in about a year and a half for Alex Pereira? Has Magomed been improving on his striking? Is he just as sharp as he ever was? Is he going to be just as sharp as he was in the first fight? Because it was weird that it looked like Magomed was kind of just schooling Pereira in that fight for most of the time. Ankalaev is 5 years younger than Pereira and just turned 33. I believe it was June, or it's either July or June, but he just turned 33. At this point in their careers, I feel like Ankalaev is a little bit hungrier. He looked better than I recalled him looking when he showed out and took that strap from Alex Pereira at UFC 313. As big as a fan I am of Poatan, I gotta say I think Magomed is the more complete MMA fighter, and Alex just may be out of time. His story has been a great one, but I'm not sure if another light heavyweight title run is in his future. Ankalaev can also take some pretty big hits as he's demonstrated in the past, and he can drop some fools as he's demonstrated in the past. What intrigues me of this fight is who's going to make the most adjustments. Who's going to make the most adjustments from the first one? Because I can see both men making adjustments to have better performances and secure the W. It'll be amazing if Poatan pulls it off. It'll also be extremely impressive if Ankalaev does it. If he beats him twice, that's got to count for something, right? If he beats him twice, that's got to count for a little bit to boost him up in GOAT talk. Am I right? Especially if he finishes him. Whichever way you're leaning in this fight, I would certainly take into consideration the short time that has gone by since the first.
El mejor consejo que escucharás hoy.
Ja, Cleaver!
Sandhagen and Merab are going to be throwing down on the same night as Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira too. That is amazing. And if there is anyone that is going to figure out how to beat Merab, or has the best chance of figuring out and coming the closest in this division at this time, I do believe it is the Sandman. Sandhagen is a dynamic enough striker with good enough takedown defense, good enough cardio, good enough, not Merab cardio. cardio, good enough cardio, and good enough real-time adjustments to make one think, this actually might be a little bit different than, say, Umar or O'Malley 2. Corey Sandhagen has a big opportunity here to destroy the boogeyman of the division. Merab's career is on a legendary run. The game plans and strategies can be made to battle him and battle his cardio. However, his cardio is like the zero in multiplication. It always wins. It always comes out on top. Lately, Merab seems to be laying a little bit lower and having a little more emotional intelligence and not and not using a gutter-minded brain rot for engagement on social media as much. That's not for me. I know for some people they love it, but there's no taking away his skill and his talent, especially that God-given cardio. I would say Sandhagen is gonna have to, have some high output, but is he gonna even come close to matching the output of Merab, especially in like round 3? It's one I can't wait to see, and I think it's a better test against Merab than Umar. Yeah, I said it.
Simple niggas hating on me, not because of bitches, not because of money.
Tatiana Suarez is going to take on Amanda Lemos at Noche UFC for not being a pay-per-view card and a main event that, in my opinion, is a little bit on the lighter side. The women are getting booked to show out, and show out I hope they do. Tatiana Suarez got her hands full with the punching power of Amanda Lemos, and Lemos still seems very motivated and hungry to be a contender. We haven't heard a whole lot from Tatiana since that terrible performance against Wiley. I don't really blame her. Everybody was gassing her up, calling her the female Khabib and all this stuff, and how she would dominate anybody, and it's her time to shine for the title. And I mean, from Mr. Underground to the big wigs, everyone was glazing this woman. Did not work out that way. I don't know what kind of adjustments she's gonna be able to make at this point in her career. She's not gonna be able to change her style whatsoever. Neither is Amanda Lemos, to be fair, but who has the more powerful punching? And who's a better technical striker, I'd even argue. This goes along with Raquel Pennington and Norma Dumont for Noche. And while we're talking about Noche real quick, it's been in my mind that Noche should be one of the big four for the UFC, with IFW, Madison Square Garden, and the first pay-per-view or PLE of the year for the company. This is the second year in a row for Noche celebrating, Mexican independence and the fighting Mexican spirit, where Mexicans are not fighting, and at least on the main event. And I do hope that this gets balanced and straightened out by the fourth Noche, if there is a fourth Noche. It was like for Sphere, the concept and the energy, the tone was there, right? The main event was not. And even if it doesn't even have to be two Mexicans. The fight just didn't turn out even good. It was all one-way traffic until the 5th round. Alexa Grasso choked in the wrestling. And now we're back here, Diego Lopez and Gene Silva, and it's just like not really Noche. Maybe a different name for the fight card that comes around this time of year is In Order. The location is fitting, and I do wonder if, they're gonna go all themed out the way they did for Sphere, or if that was just for Sphere. Because if that's the case, then kind of letting our foot off the pedal in more ways than one for this themed show. I could be wrong, and if you think I am, let me know, because I don't know what to think about it anymore. I don't even really see it as Noche or a celebration of Mexican Independence Day other than the digital graphics that we saw for Guadalajara. But we all know, in case you don't know, Guadalajara was nixed. For one, Canelo and Crawford being at Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, they made that happen indeed. And for two, the stadium in Guadalajara wasn't even ready. And for three, they didn't even have a Mexican champion, so it couldn't have been a pay-per-view because they're contractually obligated to have a title on every pay-per-view. Which maybe going forward for things like Noche, there can be an exception.
I'm not surprised, motherfucker.